Okay, gonna go ahead and just do a quick little stream as I figure out some things. Let's see. What else can I do? What else should I do? Well, first of all, I very clearly have to get this guy up. Oh, where'd OBS go? Did I accidentally close OBS? No, I did not. Fantastic. So, he is nearly done. I keep saying that, but it keeps being true. He is almost done. I believe he is dried out enough because I went ahead and sprayed down some of the terrain around him. Now I need to build it back up just a little bit so that there's some brightness to it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick dry brush. And then I think once that's finished, I can call him done so. This model has taken a lot of time and a lot of effort. It's been fun every step of the way, other than some of the anxiety of putting it together. I'm really hoping, and I'm pretty sure he will, that my buddy will enjoy it. It's gracious. There we go. Got rid of that. Accidentally got some glue on one of my better brushes. Okay, so first things first. Gonna mix together some of this. I can't read it because it's upside down. Hey, Freddy J, good to see you. Leather brown. Gonna dry brush some leather brown to bring up some of the color. Whoop, that was a lot. On this boy. Yeah, this is the stompa I've been talking about. My sinuses have decided that since it is above freezing, I need to suffer again, which is fine, I suppose. But it's definitely led me sounding incredibly congested. I've already taken a bunch of stuff for it. Oh dear. Oh dear. Why are you just disintegrating my hands? What is the cause of this? What is the meaning of this? My dry brush, my cheap dry brush from Army Painter, has just decided to shed its outer skin and is just losing bits and bobs all over the place. So we're just going to go ahead and give this a very dirty dry brush. Actually, you know what? Given the size of this model, I don't think that's going to be big enough. We're going to have to get a bigger dry brush. So I'm going to grab me one of the Army Painter Masterclass dry brushes. Get it nice and soaked in with the paint, and let's see what I can do here. Yeah, that's considerably better. This model is so bored. I'm happy it's not going to be my problem after today, though. He's coming over. I can present this to him, and then I can be like, here you go. This is your problem now. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. He's going to come over. He's going to see this thing. I'm going to be like, Merry Crimbus. Good luck getting it home. You what? You live 8 hours away? Well, you're going to have 8 hours to figure out how you want to transport this guy, I guess. Obviously, that's not truly going to be the case, but he is a large lad that is in need of some tender loving care on his way home, because I do not think he's very well put together. I tried my best. I put supports. I pinned some supports inside his joints and whatnot, but just from handling him, he's not fragile. Like, he's not fragile. He's not going to fall apart just from handling. But he's definitely not as durable as some other minis that I've put together. And I think that's just part of the course of putting minis together, you know what I mean? They're not exactly the most hardy materials to play with, especially since it's all resin cast and 3D printed. He's not going to be the... he's not made out of Games Workshop plastic. Speaking of, I don't know if you saw it, but they just released a bumper trailer for their Warhammer Plus subscription service and Warhammer TV, and they listed off a ton of TV shows and whatnot that they're getting ready to do. Hey, Kieran. Doing some chores, so all's well. All's well, other than my allergies being terrible. My morning allergies decided, hey, it's the morning. Time for Benry to feel awful. Because it's above freezing, and he's not allowed to feel good if the temperature is above freezing and there's any moisture in the air. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and keep working on this guy, finish him up. He's almost done. I got one last layer of dry brushing to do, and then I can finally be done with the lad. Okay, this is just my life now. Ever since I had, even before COVID, I've had allergy issues with, I guess, the elevation and temperature changes. So my body is just like, hey, it's cold and it's any kind of humidity in the air. Well, guess what? You can't breathe now. It's definitely better than it used to be. I used to get like viciously ill in the morning to the point where I was dry heaving and I had to take days off work. And all they could tell me was, yeah, you have allergies. you should do something about that. That'll be $300 because American healthcare. But it's better than it was because I've realized that I basically just got to keep taking an anti-allergen regardless of how I think I feel. And if I do that, then it just gives me this horrible sniffle. It makes me sound very ill as opposed to being violently ill in the morning. Oh my gosh, he's so close to done. I keep forgetting. I also gotta paint the rims of these things black so that it looks really good. And I probably should go ahead. Let's see, will this work? Yeah, that's gonna read as a brightness. That's gonna read as a brightness. It's a warm light, I promise. I love the fact that he's so big that I couldn't just put him on a base. I printed two bases, a 90mm and a 100mm, and I went, yeah, this is how you're standing, boyo. You're not gonna get a chance to fall over. Now, my one problem that I'm noticing is because I'm finagling so much with the chainsaw is his one arm is kind of loose, and that worries me. And I kind of want to repin him, and I might have just snugged it back in. Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna fight with you. You've put up enough of a fight. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and paint these rims black, and I think I'm gonna call him done. And then I'm gonna throw him as hard as I can. A friend when he comes over, which I think would make for a great like TikTok video, but would make me very sad because I've spent at this point actual months working on this thing. This is by far the most ambitious thing I've ever done. And I'm gonna promote them again if you guys don't know who they are. Station Forge does really good stuff. This is their Orcas Mega Stepa, which I think is just the Orcas are their version of the Orcs. Orcas, Orkafac. But they have models for a lot of their units. They've got their jets. They've got their speed buggies and shock jump dragstas and all that fun stuff. They've got their own version of Gaz Kothraka, who they've called the Grand Nutta, which might be my favorite name. Good afternoon, Red. I keep saying it, and I think it's finally going to be true, that I am finishing up this model. Once I finish painting the rim of his base black, I think that means I'm done, because I can't think of anything else that needs to happen to him. Oh, fantastic! I can't wait for you to open that box and find them literally just crumpled puddles, piles of junk, nothing useful. I'm gonna be really sad if that happens, and if it does, I'm refunding you your money. I'd hate for you to have waited that long and for them to have come in looking not to your satisfaction. Hopefully the inventory list helped. Hopefully they were well packaged enough. That's why he's so big, though. I know why he's so big, because I forgot to measure him down for scale. I think he's actually this. Did you use a whole roll of tape? Yes. I want to reiterate that I am very fastidious about making sure that shit arrives safely. So I take the ever-loving bejesus out of that because I didn't want any part of it to fall apart. That's my normal thing, though. I mean, the good news is if you cut along the seams, it should just kind of open very handily. I mean, that's how I shipped the Mortarian. I cocooned him in packing paper, and then I put him in a plastic bag, and then I cocooned that, or stuffed that full of packing paper, and then I put it in a box that I surrounded with packing paper. So I don't want these things to break. Fantastic, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad it turned out okay.
I think my favorite thing about that model is just how darn easy it is to put together, too. Atlan Forge did a really good job of making their prints and their assemblies really intuitive. And if you look at the My Mini Factory page, it has like the exploded charts of the model, and
and it does a really good job of explaining how everything goes. I don't know if you heard any of that because I was, doing the thing. Wow, even his eye looks good. Okay, that's really cool. I'm glad that his eye, oh my god, his one eye looks like he's about ready to murder, which I guess he is. Okay, that's it. I guess it's not it. Something in there is glued together really nicely, but everything else is kind of falling apart. So I guess he's gonna have to deal with it when he does, because it's on, but only barely. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull back into an ultra wide shot, and we're gonna put this guy. So first of all, I added a magnet to his sword and his sword arm and his arm. Try and make it so that this thing sticks better, because the last thing I'd want to do is glue it on and make it too bulky, or not glue it on and make it too flimsy. But there's his sword arm, his chain arm. And here's my favorite thing. I think I showed this off last night, but I took his artillery dealie and I put like little scraps of metal on top so that it magnetizes these boys to it, which is fantastic. And you can clearly see the magnet up top. I put a magnet under here, which isn't strong enough, much to my chagrin, but it fits all together. And now he's just a massive, massive boy. And what I think I'm going to have to do before I give him to the buddy is I'm going to have to take some semi-professional photos of him. Because that's actually one of the reasons why I remade my spray booth, is the other one was made out of poster paper. And so it was kind of falling apart. This one is made out of plastic poster board. So it definitely stands up and holds up a whole lot better. I'm very happy that I finished this model. He's finally done, and I can finally say I'm done with him. And actually, yeah, it's really helpful in a lot of ways. I'm really lazy about it, and I only magnetize the biggest things. But I will let you know, get a WoW stick. This thing's amazing. I'm really sad I waited as long as I did to get it, because it does exactly what you'd want it to do. In fact, it's got like a little chuck right here, and then you just put the drill bit in. It comes with a set of them, and I'm gonna have to move the largest boy out of the way. Oh, goodness gracious. But let me find a model to show this off. Did I do you? Looks like I did that one. Oh man, it looks like I did most. Oh wait, no, did I? Looks like I was smart and I pre-drilled a lot of things, so I can't show this off. That sucks. Give me a second. Yeah, look at me go. I was so fastidious about. Oh, I know what I could do. I didn't pre-drill these guys. So a friend gave me a bunch of. I can zoom in again. A friend gave me a bunch of Outriders because he didn't need them. And so my immediate thought was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make a White Scars army. So that's eventually going to happen. But you can see that he clearly did not pre-drill the holes, right? So, WoW stick. It go. You just put it where you need it. And look at that. Drill the bullet hole, just like that. And because it's a high torque, low rotation, so actually what I probably should do is, where's my knife? I'm gonna pre-drill this hole, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna quote a Game Grumps. Okay, so I went ahead and dug out the divot a little bit, and now hopefully that'll make it so that it's got a guide hole and it'll work a little better. Oh, perfection. Beautiful. And now his gun has bullet holes in them. Unfortunately, one of them's off center, but I don't care because this is a secondary hobby army. Either way, my point is that this was an incredible purchase, and I'm really happy that I got it. I think it's like $70 on the Amazon, 70 America dollars. but it's so far, I've only had it for a couple days, but it's been worth every penny. But yeah, if you take that and you take the smallest type of magnets, oh great, it doesn't tell me. These are not the right magnets. I thought I had smaller. There's the smallest magnets. These are not 5 by 2, but I've had these for a while and I've actually run out of uses for them. But if you take these little guys and you can put them in the joints and whatnot, they should work perfectly okay. In fact, that's one of my next projects, is that, you know, those Mark 6 Marines I was telling you about that I love so much? Well, some mad lad on the internet has made 3D sculpts for them, and they're absolutely perfect. So, like, they have heavy weapons and special weapons attachments for them. And so my plan is I'm going to print out like 10 of them, or 5 of them, 10 of them, I don't remember. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to magnetize their wrists, because all of the weapons fit in the same wrist slots across all of them, because they were smart enough to make it so that the distance between their 2 hands are like the identical across all the poses. Yeah, I mean, look at this guy with the heavy bolter. He looks sweet. Hey, Pilkey, good afternoon. I'm very sleepy and I have allergy issues. I think my favorite project that I'm only halfway done with, because I keep being lazy and forgetting, is my buddy who's getting into the World Eaters. He's also a Salamanders fan. And so for his birthday in February, I'm going to finish this guy up. I need to get an arm, because I have a sword already. And I'm going to, like, cut off part of this sword so that it's pierced through, but he's going to be stabbing a bloodletter through. And I'm going to put it in a frame so that he's the Doom guy. And one of my other friends is really big into programming and electronic music. And he's going to program it so we can put a button in there that's going to play the Doom theme in both the 8-bit version, the modern one, and then I forget what else he was going to put in there. Something silly. Probably like a terrible MIDI version. Oh, now that you guys are here, I don't think you were here last night when I finished these guys up. But I finished the Cataphracti Terminators. I assembled them. And they're pretty much ready to paint, because I went ahead and got the overcoat on them and everything. I think you're going to love these things because they look so freaking good. Look at this Cataphracti. Look at this Terminator. Tell me that's not like the coolest thing you've ever seen. I love my 3D printer. Yeah, I know, they look so good. They're also friggin' massive. I cannot talk about how big they are without talking about how big they are. They're really, really huge chunk. Here, I'll take this guy. Yeah, so like, look at how much bigger they are. They're like the size of HQs. They're huge, and I love them. And the one I just showed you is actually my least favorite one, because like, here's the heavy weapons guy. Look at the heavy weapons guy. Look at the size of his assault cannon. And then here's my sergeant. I mean, these are just such great looking models. Look at the friggin' Melta on him. He's got a multi-Melta as a backpack. I love these models so much. I cannot wait to paint them. They're pretty far down on the tier list though. Actually, Kieran, how much of a stickler are you for like your minis being ultra detailed or whatever? Like, do you like going in and very fastidiously painting every last little detail and make sure that he's perfect to your discretion, or do you just want to get your armies painted? Okay, because this was more for Snowtwig, who isn't here this morning, which is fine. But okay, so Kieran, have you heard of the slap chop method of painting? Because that's something that's been making its rounds recently, and it's a remarkably fast, but also very good. Yeah, I'm really sad that your Votan aren't done, but they're going to look so good when they are. You've got a cool color combination working for you. Okay, so it's actually based off of an old, I think, French painting method called the grisaille painting method. Or Italian, I don't recall. But the idea is, it's undercoating. It's essentially undercoating. All you do is using either a watered down paint or some of Citadel's new speed paints, or Army Painter's new speed paints. You undercoat them with like, my brain just potatoed, I'm sorry, with a gray and then a white, which you undercoat a little lighter. and then you just go ahead and hit them with a speed paint, right? And it ends up creating that volume for you. So I'm actually going to do that. I was gifted this Skitari specifically to practice the slap chop method by Soft Servo, who is, I've said before, he's one of my other friends who really got me into this hobby, so I kind of owe everything to him. But I'm going to go ahead and do the grisaille slap chop method for you, because I was going to do this, like I said, I was going to do this for Snowtwig, since Snowtwig apparently has shaky hands and can't really do a lot of the finer detail stuff. And I feel like that's a terrible, terrible thing to happen for such a great hobby. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to take some gray, I'm going to take some whites, and I'm going to get a paper towel because that'll make that. I'm going to grab a paper towel, and all I'm going to do is first I'm going to shake off my paints with my new Vortex mixer, and then I'm going to go ahead and slap chop the dude. Slap chop is the new name for it, which was created by a hobbyist painter, and it's become like a meme, and some people really hate it, some people really love it. I'm on the fence about it. I think it's cool, and it's a fun way of doing it, but I'm not going to hurt anyone who doesn't call it its appropriate name. The other name for it's just undercoating, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Just get a lot on my dry brush, and then I'm going to dry brush the ever-loving crap out of this guy. And I do mean the ever-loving crap. I don't want him to have a whole lot of gray spots on, or a whole lot of black spots on him, only in the darkest shadows. So we're just going to hit him as effectively as possible to get as much covered as possible with this gray. Because the more black you leave, the more like just voids you're going to have. And it's like, Ben repaints, what are you doing? He's going to look terrible. Just trust the process, because I don't trust the process enough, and it ends up making the model look worse. This is actively going to make the model look better, I promise you. So we're going to go ahead and do this. This video is going to come back with me sounding like I'm drunk. Okay, so all the parts that are going to be hit by light, he's been blasted with this gray, right? Like that's a ridiculous amount of gray that's now on him. The cool part about this to me is that they end up kind of looking statuesque, and I think that's neato skeeto. But anyway, like I said, you want to really hit him with this gray. You really want to get that coverage. I probably wanted to opt with a darker gray, but this is the one I've got. So now I'm going to wash my brush, and I'm actually going to put this one aside because it's too big for the next thing I'm going to do. Also, if you need to get, I don't know if you have dry brushes already, but if you need to get good dry brushes, don't. Just get cheap makeup brushes. They do just as well. I wasted money on getting expensive ones, and I haven't really needed them. For now, we're going to go ahead, mix up some white. Actually, I wonder, now that he's not completely black, will the autofocus work? Okay, now we're going to get some white, and we're not going to be as much of a stickler, or not as liberal with our coating. It's just going to be on the high spots of the model, right? So we're going to go ahead, grind that white in, and now on the very top of the model, they really are. I bought a pair of cheap ones from eBay, and I'm kind of from Amazon, and I'm kind of regretting that because I immediately ruined them, and that was entirely my fault. But now we're just going to hit the highest spots on this guy. We're not trying to hit as many spots. I'm not trying for total coverage like I had with with that previous layer. Just in the spots where it is most likely that the light would hit him, right? And I'm really happy I'm making this video because Soft Servo doesn't have the same kind of free time I have to paint. And so in the amount of time that he's painted about 2,000 points worth of AdMech and Imperial Knights, I've painted close to 4,000 to 5,000 points of models. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit all that. And again, you can see that he now has like a couple of layers, right? He's got the gray kind of happening as a mid-tone, and he's got the white highlight going on. And so in general, he's got multiple layers of color going on with him. And I'm going to be a bit of a doofus here. I'm gonna go ahead and use the speed paints. You don't have to. You can really water down a regular paint. And yeah, we're doing a manual zenithal, but we're doing it with multiple layers. Instead of just doing black then white or black then gray, you're going like black then gray then white. And if you have an airbrush, that obviously makes things easier, but you can't quite get some of the details. So doing it manually definitely helps. But yeah, he looks like a statue, right? And that's kind of what we're looking for. Okay, I don't need this anymore. That's how quick that process was. And now, you know what? I'm going to be a dick. I'm not going to use the speed paints. I don't know if you've seen the speed paints. They're fantastic. I used to hate them because I didn't understand them. And now that I've actually gotten to play with them, I've realized, no, these are brilliant. I just need to get up, stop yelling at clouds. So, next. Actually, I don't need a delicate brush. Whoops. I'm going to use... Actually, no, I am going to go ahead and use... No, that brush is too much. I'm waffling. I apologize for my waffling. So, there we go. There's a palette. I'm going to mix some red. And I'm not going to need much because it's going to be severely watered down. Now, generally, the speed paints are going to be better at this because the speed paints are specifically designed like thick washes. They're really good at kind of running to the crevices while leaving a thin layer on top, right? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make essentially a glaze almost, and I'm just gonna go ahead and paint this on him. And what's gonna happen if I did this properly is that all the dark spots are gonna shine through as being darker, and all the light spots are gonna have a much richer color to them. And that's really what we're looking for. And like I said, the speed paints are much better at this, the contrast paints, whatever you want to call them. But I'm trying to teach this in a way that doesn't demand you go out and buy more product, you know what I mean? Okay. Now the only problem with this, and it's something I struggle with because I've learned to just kind of paint over, is you can't really be too sloppy with this, because if you are, all the paint's translucent, and if you get something underneath, you're just going to have to deal with that being there, and you kind of can't get rid of it. So you've got to be a little more careful with your paint placement than you would normally. Yeah, we're going to go ahead, hit all of that, hit all of that, hit the inside of his coat to the best of my ability, hit the white part of his coat. But yeah, all this is going to do is end up being a very quick method that'll make your minis look good on the tabletop. Okay, this might be a bit too much water. So I'm not trying to go for like Golden Demon or whatever level paintings, just so that if someone looks at him from 6 feet away, they're like, yeah, that mini looks pretty darn good. And hopefully that's what I'm able to reach by doing this. And as you can see, some of it ended up being really thin. If that's the case, just wait for it to dry and add another layer. There you go, Skitarii Raincoat, essentially painted. Let's add a little bit more. Yeah. And I mean, you can probably see I'm not exactly using the finest brush. This is a Winsor & Newton, but this was before I understood how to properly take care of them, so this one's been pretty heavily hecked up by my neglect and abuse. Okay. So, I know, right? There you go. And now his coat looks okay. So let's go ahead and do a black. And again, I use Vallejo paints, but you can go ahead and use whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and slap some black down. Actually, I'm going to do something tricky in a second, because this is something you can do that'll really upgrade your paints. I'm going to actually put some metal down elsewhere because I don't want to get it on my darn wet palette. gonna put some metal on the there we go, paper towel, metal paint, and of course if you use like lead belcher and whatnot, use lead belcher, but in this case I need to use a different brush because I don't want to get my Winsor & Newton brushes all fudged up. So I'm going to go ahead and underpaint all of his metal bits with a metal. And I'm not even going to go real hard on this because it doesn't need to look great, it just needs to exist, right? So any bits that I want to stay metallic are going to stay metallic. And they don't even have to be completely metallic, they just have to show signs of metal, right? So if you really wanted to, if you felt tricky enough, you could actually just dry brush this stuff on and have it like just kind of glancingly hit a lot of spaces, and it's going to look fine because you just want the metal to show through. You don't necessarily need it to be the entire thing. And if you notice, I was even lazier. I didn't even bother trimming his mold lines because I forgot. Okay, got a little metal there. Let's get some metal on his backpack. Get some metal on his attachments. I really love the AdMech. If it wasn't for the fact that my buddy already has an AdMech army, I'd probably start my own. I think that their range refresh was, or their range line was so cool. Okay. His feet. And again, we just want a little bit of metal across his bits because we want the metallic to show through, but we don't want it to dominate the mini. And you can even see that I missed some parts, like on his. Oh wait, no, is that an elbow joint? No, I guess that's supposed to be an elbow joint. I'm going to go ahead and hit that with some metal too. I can't tell if these are supposed to be elbow joints or if they're supposed to be part of the both. They're going to be elbow joints. And now we're going to go back in with some water, obnoxiously thin down the black, and then we're just going to spread that over the parts that need to be black. So that's a little too thin. I'm going to do it over the metal bits too because we want it to be almost like a known oil. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And because we've got the metal bits painted in a little bit of metal, once it dries, you're going to have this great metallic look to it, right? And the opposite way to do this is to go ahead and dry brush the metal bits on afterwards, and it'll still look really good. Okay, metal bits, metal bits, metal bits, metal bits, metal bits, metal bits. Now, like I said, not going to win any painting competitions with this, but that's not the point. The point is that there's enough depth to the model that it's more interesting than just a monocolored blob on the table, right? Because I mean, I can do all sorts of tricky things with him if I wanted to. I could try and do a lot of the blending and whatnot, and the glazing techniques that I've learned, but all I want to do with this guy is get him ready to play, especially because I would have like 20 more of him that I've got to paint. More agua. More water added to the paint. Must be watered down. There we go. Let's get some metal. Get some on there too. God, the filigree on this rifle is so cool. It's too bad he's going to die in phase 1 of shooting. Okay. A little bit on there, a little bit on there, more on there. And you can see I can even go back and fix up some of the bits and bobs that I didn't hit hard enough. But again, I don't know how long I've been working on him, but it can't have been more than like 10-15 minutes, including my explanations. But you can see he already looked pretty darn good. Brown. I need brown. Wait, no, I need to... Just a little bit up here. I need brown for... Wait, nope. See, I keep seeing spots that I didn't hit well enough. So I'm going to go back and hit them. Yeah, I painted up some sisters that I printed for a friend to play with us, and I ended up spending maybe 15 minutes per model, it was definitely not even this precise. I was just slapping on the paint as quickly as I could. And they show for it, but you know who noticed during the game? No one. Okay. Gonna go with this charred brown. Mix that up. Get some on there. And again, all we're gonna do is water this the crap down. And I will promise you, this looks a heck of a lot better with actual speed paints. Gonna hit the gun. With as much of this as possible. Got a little thin there. The gun. I really like the guns. I think my favorite gun name in all of 40K is the Transuranic Arquebus, which is that giant sniper rifle that they get to use. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead, hit the backpack a little bit, and this is where I've got to be careful because I've got some overspillage happening. And I don't want there to be too much. And there we go. For all intents and purposes, he's done. If I wanted to, I could add more things. Like I could add some plasma glow to his backpack. I could clean up bits and bobs of it. But I mean, pretty clearly that took, I don't know, 10 minutes, and it looks like it does now. So if you're looking to get a lot of boys painted really quickly, and you're not too worried about the quality, and you have the knowledge that you can always go back and improve it, this is not a bad way to get through a bunch of models and make them look tabletop ready. Of course, I'd need to base him and whatnot, but I don't really care about that. This was just meant to be a pure demonstration of how good the slap chop method could work. And hopefully I can reference, I know, right? I mean, the low lighting is definitely helping hide a lot of the mistakes, but he looks pretty darn good, all things considered. Given that it was literally a speed paint. Actually, let's see. Can I add more light? Can I add more lights? That's about as much light as I'm gonna get. But you can see, like, he's not the most richly colored thing in the world. I wonder, can I? But he's definitely at least 3 or 4 different colors. He's got the red coat, he's got the black pants, he's got the metal bits on him, he's got the brown rifle, which unfortunately is showing up really, really dark there. But I mean, he's done. And again, if I'm looking at him from down here, he looks like a mini. He looks like a decently painted mini, and that's all we're after. So hopefully I'll be able to clip this and I can turn it into just like a little video, so if Snowtwig needs to see this or wants to see this, I can show it to him. Okay. But yeah, I think I spent more time last night working on this guy's cloak than I did on working on that guy. Speaking of, I've got some non-metallic metal going on him. I'm not done with it yet. I'm only about 2/3 through, but it's honestly building him up quite a bit, and I really do like this boy. But yeah, that is the slap chop method. That's pretty much what it entails. It speeds things up a lot, and I think that's really cool. So I can give this back to Soft Servo at some point, and I can be done with that. What else? What else do I have? Oh yeah, something else I'm making for him just because I wanted to is I 3D printed an Evrain, which was made by 3D Art Guy, and I think it is also a very cool model. I just printed the cat because I forgot to, but this thing has been shrunk down to like 30% size, and it still looks absolutely fantastic. So all I can do is give incredible kudos to 3D Art Guy for doing amazing models. Exactly. And here's a really great Fulgrim. I'm in love with this model. I cannot wait to finish painting him. 3 art guy really outdoes themselves with their minis, and they do more than just Warhammer stuff too. They have ones for like Halo and Bloodborne and oh my god, why is my brain stopping? Mass Effect, Horizon. I think Horizon. What's the name of the game with the dinosaur mechs? I think that not Horizon. I'm forgetting. Either way, I know, right? And again, this is shrunk down to like 40% scale. But if you really look at him, he has some amazing detail going on. It really blows my mind what they're doing with 3D prints nowadays. I really like this model. I like the fact that he looks like a smug Henry Cavill. That's kind of funny. But he's got like little skull faces on his cloak. He's got just the fur texture. Everything about this model screams drip, and I kind of love it. I mean, just the faces on his knees. Okay, Horizon, thank you. But yeah, the guy's got a ton of them, and I subscribe to his Patreon specifically to get this Fulgrim model so I can eventually do a Loyalist Emperor's Children army, because I've been inspired to do so. But that's neither here nor there. I think for his cloak, I'm going to have to do a gold border, which means I'm going to have to do more non-metallic metal, which I'm not too happy about. That's fine, I'll make it work. Yeah, I don't play video games much anymore. The only video game that I've really been jamming hard has been Darktide. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the only video game I need for the foreseeable future. That game is hot sex. It's so good. Okay, and orange. So I tried to teach myself non-metallic metals just to kind of learn a new skill when I painted my Gilliman up. And I'm not very good at it, but I'm definitely trying, and I'm getting better with every one. So like, this guy was attempt number 2 at non-metallic metal, and I think he turned out pretty okay. Not enough contrast. He's very light and doesn't have a whole lot of darkness going on, and I think that kind of throws him off, and he just looks yellow. But I'm slowly getting better. This was another attempt, and I think this one sells a whole lot more. I think I'm getting better at trying to figure out where light hits, where light doesn't. I have an entire combat patrol of Custodes and Sisters of Silence that I've been trying to paint up to make look good. This was my last attempt, which is, yeah, there we go. Nope, come on, there we go. This was my last attempt at it, and like I said, I'm getting better. I'm still trying, so every chance I get, I'm practicing on metallic metal, so that hopefully I can get to the point where it all looks good. Oh, did I show you guys the golf rocker that my wife got me? The holiday special dude? This was her Christmas present to me. I love this model so much. It's such a doofy looking model. Okay, focus, darn you. There we go. I really like this model. I think he's funny. I think he's brilliant. I'm really happy with how the paint job went. I know, right? He looks fantastic. I love the sad little squig underneath him that just is a speaker. They make great models. Games Workshop is still doing really well. Eventually what I want to do is I want to collect all of their musically inclined models and turn it into like a rock show. And just have... Yes, he's singing into a stick grenade. Again, there's so many great things about it. Probably the best thing, though, is that the animation studio that's been doing Hammer and Bolter did their own video of the Goth Rocker singing called Here We Go. And it's taken in the same tune as... oh my goodness, Adeptus Ridiculous is finally doing Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children, and that means they're going to do Ancient Rylanor. Beautiful. But it's sung to the tune of Jingle Bells. And it's very corny and silly, but it definitely is worth working on. Okay, so there's Here We Go. This is where he came from, or how they promoted him. I still need to do the bandolier on his head and the bullet on his top hat, but he's for the most part done, and I'm really happy with how he turned out. I mean, there's few models that I'm not happy with. I was working on a Sister of Silence with the non-metallic metals. Here's this lady, who again, looking pretty good so far. Can't wait till she's done. The Custode Combat Patrol has kind of become my side project. when I don't have anything else to work on, I'll just go back to working on that. Hopefully you guys are aware of Ancient Rylanor. Oh yeah, he is in the Shoot Us Blood and Teeth game, that's right. In like the first level, he's rocking out with the rest of them, isn't he? Because they did that really cool metal band thing. Okay, gonna need me some brown. Hopefully no more dark brown. I need to go heal with him before I figure. Okay, cool, very fantastic. Yeah, go clean the room. Doing the chores is good. But yeah, I really appreciate that Games Workshop, despite some of their lesser popular moves, are still managing to keep everything as tongue-in-cheek as they can, and if you know what I mean. I really enjoy the fact that, like Asriel, for example, the fact that they took his stupid bullpup gun that he had when he was a firstborn, that physically cannot work. That gun is terribly designed. Yeah, the music in that game slaps so hard. Shoot Us Blood and Teeth, like many of their other games that they've made recently, was obviously made with a lot of love, and it's really cool to see that happen. But yeah, them taking Asriel's gun and making it even dumber, and making it make just a little more sense, but just enough for someone to go, hey, wait a minute, that's still stupid. So I appreciate Games Workshop still having that sense of humor. Okay. Let me check something really quick. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think the only thing that stops Shoot Us Blood and Teeth from being a truly amazing game is the lack of replayability, because it is just kind of the same game over and over again. What was I doing with this guy? I think he was at the point where I can just slap on the yellow, and he should be okay. Like, I've done enough of the highlight that I can just do the yellow. I like the music on Billigan Switch channel so much, I just blatantly stole it. Which is fine, they have good music taste. Okay, is this gonna zoom in or am I gonna have problems? Nope, it's gonna zoom in, okay, just slowly. At some point, guys, I will get something better than my cell phone camera to use, but I don't have the money, and it's been doing okay for me. Maybe I'll try and do like a fundraiser on this channel, but once I start getting more people, but I definitely need a better camera than this. Let's see, a little bit more up there, a little bit more up there. I'm not doing a damn fundraiser. I've got like 5 normal followers. That's stupid. Yeah, I would love to get not even a great DSLR, just like a camera specifically made for streaming. Because I have an old Pentax, and it's close to 10 years old at this point. It doesn't have an HDMI port, so I can't put it with a capture card or anything. But I need to get a new camera, and I kind of just want to get a new Pentax so I can keep with them. But the new Pentax is close to $1,000. And so what I probably ought to just do is open myself up to commissions and do a bunch of them and use that money. But I'm not very good at promoting. You know what I mean? I struggle with being like, hey, I'm doing commissions and I want money for it, so give me your models to paint and I'm gonna do a good enough job to make you go, yes, I'm happy I paid this person. I've had that one gentleman who has consistently gone back to the well because he's like my paint jobs, but that's been it. So hopefully at some point I figure out how to better self-promote, and then I can start making some real money off of this and put it back into the hobby. Most specifically, put it back into buying a new camera for the stream. Okay, let's get that a little brighter. That a little brighter. Yeah, the red undertones of this are really helpful with this. Okay. Oh dear, here we go. Hit that. Hit that. accidental good is better than intentional bad. Because this is actually turning out pretty okay. Unfortunately, the camera can't keep up and won't focus. I can't tell. I'm basically blind right now. I'm sorry if the camera's being goofy. Do I have it on autofocus or do I not? I don't. That's why it's being screwy. Okay. Now that should be good. Unfortunately, I have not beat Shooter's Blood and Teeth. I saw Bricky's review on it, and it sounded absolutely fantastic. I played through a bit of the first level, but that is a game that I feel lives and dies on having multiplayer, because it's very Metal Slug-esque. And so I'm just really hoping that eventually I have some time and some friends to play it with. But unfortunately, Darktide has taken over my life. And so that's kind of the only game I want to play right now. I read a review today, actually. PC Gamer, their website, one of their staff chose Darktide as their Game of the Year pick. And their logic behind it wasn't bad. There are plenty of better games out there, don't get me wrong. Darktide does not deserve Game of the Year. But their argument was that it's hands down the best Warhammer game ever made, even though there are clearly issues with it. Fat Shark is very much in it for the long haul. They really want this game to succeed. And the degree of detail, the amount of love and detail they put into the game to make it feel like a 40k game is off the charts. And that I can definitely agree with, because there are some truly horrifying moments in there that really show off how just bleak and depressing the world of 40k is. And then that's followed with some like laugh out loud hilarious moments that happen just because you and your friends are playing the game, and the dialogue and the situations are so well crafted. But at no point does it ever stop feeling like a 40k game, you know what I mean? And I think that was one of my biggest complaints about some of the other games. You can clearly tell that they're X with a Warhammer skin slapped on them, but Darktide feels 40k all the way down to its core. And I can greatly appreciate that. Okay. Oh yeah, his belt buckle. Let's go ahead and work on that belt buckle. I will say this is definitely, this specifically right here, if we're having a good cheap eyeliner brush, is really helpful. If you need to get fine detail, I cannot recommend an eyeliner brush any more than I already have. Like, I cannot recommend it any more highly than I have. The fact that it's like a long body really helps with doing some of these details. It makes it a whole lot easier than it has any right to be. Okay. I need to check up on something. Okay. Time to do one last little... Actually, I'm not going to say one last, but another layer to this whole situation. Because non-metallic metal is difficult. I had a moment a couple days ago where I kind of got a reality check, because I have some issues with confidence and like feeling like I know what I'm doing, that wonderful imposter syndrome. And I was working on the Sister of Silence with a friend who doesn't get to paint as often as I do. So skill-wise, he's nowhere near where I am, and I don't mean that in a mean way. He just obviously hasn't had as much time to really refine his skill as I have. And so he's working on his dudes, and I'm working on my Sister of Silence, and I'm trying the non-metallic metal. And I finished with her, and I'm pretty happy with how she looks, so I comment, kind of to myself, well, that almost looks like that looks like pretty decent MMM, or whatever. And he kind of looks up and says, shut up. Looks like decent non-metallic metal. And at first I'm a little taken aback. One moment, please. Because it was hyper aggressive. And then I look over and realize that he's he's struggling to paint yellow on like orange. And that's not a take at him. First of all, Army Painter Yellow sucks. But secondly, it just kind of put into perspective how far I've come as a painter. Because not too long ago, that's where I was. I was struggling just to do base colors on top of base colors. And here I am, even attempting and somewhat succeeding at non-metallic metals, right? I wish I knew how to do this. It's Transhumanism by ELFL, which is a freaking awesome song. I just chose a bunch of songs that I thought would be fun to chill to. So I don't know a lot of these artists. I know some of them are on Doig and Swift's stream, but others I just like the sound of. I appreciate it. Thank you for the validation. I started to realize that it really is just imposter syndrome. I can't really pretend I'm not good at this anymore because, first of all, I've seen how other people paint and I've seen how I paint, and I feel like I stack up pretty favorably. But secondly, you know, I've got people asking me to paint models for them, and even though it's been minor, I've won a local painting competition. So there is definitely validation going on there that I'm better than I think I am. Okay. Can't just keep pretending anymore. Little bit of white reflection, little bit, yeah, a little bit of light reflection, a little bit. I think the problem is just being on the internet and watching all these master painters or these YouTube celebrity painters doing their thing, and just seeing how wide the skill gap is between them and myself, which isn't fair, right? Because they've obviously had a lot more time to practice their craft. It's kind of their career, so they've already proven that they're good enough at it to make it a career. And it's not really fair to yourself to compare yourself to those kind of people. Because of course they're going to be good at it. They were good enough at it that they decided to start a YouTube channel. So my thing has become less, I'll never be as good as them, and more like, I can't wait until I am as good as them. Which I think is a far healthier way of looking at it. And then I saw that video that, what's his name? Miniac put up of him going over to Vince Venturella's house and getting to paint with him for a week and realizing just how much work Vince puts into it. And it's like, yeah, the guy's not just naturally talented, he is very good, don't get me wrong, but he puts huge amounts of time and effort into getting good at this. So to be upset that I'm not as good as Vince friggin' Venturella, kind of insulting to Vince Venturella. Because it really trivializes the amount of effort and time and practice and whatnot that he puts into being good at this one thing, right? One moment, I need to blow my nose. I'm sorry, I'm not sniffing. I don't know, it's a mindset that I gotta keep while I'm teaching kids, because they get really crestfallen when they realize they're not as good at things. And then I've got ones who are really mean about it, who make fun of other kids for not being as good as things. And it's just like, you gotta have some perspective, guys. I know you're 14, 15 years old, but perspective would really help you understand this a whole lot better. And hopefully they hear some of that and makes them feel better. Like, obviously, I sponsor a tabletop gaming club with Soft Servo and Semajolis, who also comes on this channel every now and again. But I show them some of the stuff I paint, and they're like, man, I could never paint that. Like, well, first of all, you haven't had 3 years to practice. And second of all, you guys are still young. You definitely can paint this. If I can do it, if I could headbutt my way through learning this, you definitely can. But anyway. Time to make some bright little diddly-doos. I think my favorite thing that I've learned so far is that especially after getting some like professional photography done on my stuff, is that 90% of the dynamic appearance of professionally painted and like well painted miniatures is the lighting and photography. It really helps sell the model a whole lot better when you see it under favorable lighting, with just enough editing to bring out what like the eyeballs see, but the camera lens doesn't. Like, my Gilliman looks a whole lot better under my friend's lighting than it does under my cell phone camera shots. So when we took the photos of it, it looked considerably better than when the game store owner took the photos of it for the contest. And that's been the case with pretty much everything I've painted. I forgot to non-metallic metal the wings. I forgot to non-metallic metal these little things. That's okay. Very easy. Very easy. I can do this. I know how. I've learned. I can't wait to accidentally smudge some of this paint when I paint over something else. It's going to be so great. I'm only going to cry a little bit. Okay, gonna go with this dark brown. And then I'm going to do a light brown. And then I'm going to do a lighter brown. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm going right into the orangey brown. There's not enough space on here to really try and hit it well with a with that many layers of painting. Orangey brown. Orangey brown. Orange, you're glad I didn't say brown Anna. Ugh. That was terrible. It just sounds disgusting. Okay, a little bit there. Oh no. It happened again. I've left a huge glob of water. Oh dear. Okay, so that needs to go. Good one. Glaze a little bit more on there, I guess. I don't know how to glaze. I've heard it used a lot, and it's supposedly really good for helping you blend, but I, honest to goodness, don't know how to glaze. I barely know what it is. I know it's like mixing two wet colors together to make a less wet color, but I don't think I know how to actively do it without it looking like a mess, which I find very funny. I can't remember where it was. Glazing on power swords. I feel like that's the place to do it, right? When you're trying to get those super smooth transfers. But I don't think I've ever successfully done a glaze. There we go. That looks metallic enough. Wait, light reflects up, so let's go ahead. There we go. That looks metallic enough. Very thin layers with very thin paints. Oof. I've tried that. It never turns out well. It always just ends up being a mess. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight this. Okay, I don't even know if you guys can see what I'm doing. I've kind of stopped paying attention to the camera. Yeah, you kind of can. I need better lighting in this place. I think what I need to do, like I said, I moved one of my lights so it was behind. Fair enough. If you put a layer down, it just looks wet, not like you put any color down. I think that's what I ended up doing when I was trying to do Gilliman's Flaming Sword. Because, I saw a tutorial, and I think the guy basically glazed from the blade, which he made like a cold steel look, and glazed into fire. And I tried, and I was really not happy with how it looked. But I did my best, and I guess that kind of counts. Here, let me find my Gorilla Man. My Roberto Gorilla Man. Where's the girly man? There's the girly man. Actually, yeah. Whoops. No, I don't. Put that back. Yeah. These were the boys that it is. So that whoops. Whoa, that's huge. I forgot. He took this with a full frame DSLR. So this was the Robert Gorilla Man that I put in when I was trying to for the painting contest. And he was my first attempt at non-metallic metal. I had never done non-metallic metal before when I did this guy, and I was babysitting for my parents, well, house sitting for my parents, and I didn't bring any video games or anything. I just brought my painting supplies and spent like 8 hours trying to non-metallic metal this boy. It was excruciating because I felt like I screwed up far more than I got it right, but this photo of him makes him look amazing. But yeah, that's kind of what I did there, was I kind of glazed from like metal down to the red, and then from the red to the yellow. And I think I was successful. I think it looks pretty good. Did the back, kind of did the same thing. These were my other guys. I painted some Blight Lord Terminators, and originally I used Midwinter Mini's speed painting method, which took about 30 minutes per model, and then I just really pushed all the contrast on it and cleaned it up. And I gotta say, one of my favorite models of all time is definitely this middle boy, this large chonker of a lad in the middle. I don't know why, but Nurgles or Death Guards, like fat Marines, and like the bloatedness of them and just how happy they tend to look, it provides me with endless joy and mirth. So I think it's because a long time ago, when I was first getting into the hobby, there was a joke that had like Khorne and Tzeentch and Slaanesh and all the things they can do for you. And for Khorne, it was like, I can give you power beyond your wildest dreams. And for Tzeentch, it was like, I can make you more knowledgeable and more devious than any in existence. And for Slaanesh, it was like, I can make you reach the heights of pleasure, then go even further. And then for Nurgle, it was like, you, I will name Pancake Neck. And it just had this really bloated looking Marine on it, and that made me laugh. So every time I find a fat Marine, I just immediately fall in love with them. And so yeah, that one is like the Terminator version of the original fat Marine. And it just tickles me to no end. What time is it? Okay. Give me a second, guys. Whenever. Okay, but anyway, yeah, the gold ended up looking pretty darn good. What do I? Oh yeah, I'm not done with the gold yet. I need to do one final highlight of just the bone color. Yeah, Pancake Neck got me. That one had me almost in tears because of just how silly that is. And it didn't help that like the picture that they chose for it was that it was this plump looking Marine, where it looked like he looked kind of like a blobfish that had deflated. Actually, I'm sorry, I gotta find this now. I enjoy shit posting too much. I know I've got it somewhere. Imig, desktop. Yep, date. It is correct. This is my biggest problem. I have way too much fun showing stupid memes. And of course, now that I think about it, I'm not gonna find it. In the meantime, here, you guys can see that one. Enjoy that. I'm gonna look at the power sword in a second, I promise. I need to find Pancake Neck. Pancake Neck? Pancake Neck. Where are you, Pancake Neck? Where is the Pancake Neck? I wonder when I'm finally going to get demonetized for some of this stuff. It feels like it's got to happen. Yeah, no, I'm not looking through all this. I'm not scrubbing through that many pictures. Okay. We're going to discard that. Discard that. We're going to get rid of that. Whoops, got rid of the wrong thing. Oh god, what have I done? Oh no. No, I don't want that. I want camo. There we go. You guys got to see what I look like. Don't need the image. Remove. Who turned out the lights? It was me. I screwed up really badly. That's fine. But yeah, you guys got to see what I look like in this basement. The only source of lighting is a crappy lumen strip on the other side. And then, what I've got going on over here. Power sword. That's a good looking power sword. I was trying to delete something. I was trying to delete the image and it didn't go. So, no, not an image file. I need a browser file. Browser. Eventually I'll learn how to do this well. There we go. There's the power sword. It's a good looking power sword. Good looking Raven Guard. And edge highlighting black sucks. You did a really good job with that. And look at that power sword. I like the electricity crackling up and down it. I enjoy the million different versions of the power sword that I've seen, because there are so many different ones and they all tend to look fantastic. I have yet to see a bad power sword. I've seen the ones where they paint it like metal and then they just wash it with a dark blue and then they edge highlight it. That looks fantastic. The lightning power crackling off of the weapon always looks great. Okay, no problem. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. I'm gonna hopefully pop that off properly. Yep, and I'm gonna get back to trying to paint this guy's non-metallic metal. If I ever find Pancake Neck, I'll make sure to put him aside so I can show him at a later stream. Let's see, what am I doing now? I'm gonna go ahead and just first of all bring that closer. Yeah, that vibrant black looks fantastic. Raven Guard are definitely a harder chapter to paint because of just how dark everything is. So the fact that you managed to bring out some great contrast is really cool. I ended up finding, it was the recipe that I found for the temple guard that I did for that commission. Mixing a dark blue in with the black really helps bring some depth to an otherwise very flat color. And so I was pretty happy with how that entire thing turned out. Uh-oh, the dog is borking. I don't know if that means that I have company over, or if he just found something he wanted to yell at outside, because both of those are very often a thing. My dog is very friendly, but the way that he alerts that there are people outside that he needs to meet is by barking and howling, because he's upset that he can't be out there with them. Which, to me, is the height of comedy, especially because this house is a brick house and it's far enough away from the road that people don't hear him. So unfortunately, the only person that has heard him bark is the family and the mailman, who I think at this point is very scared of him. And at some point, I'll have the wherewithal to be like, hey, mailman, would you like to meet my dog in a safe environment? And he can realize that Angus is completely harmless. He is just a fat baby that likes to meet people. Okay. Get a little bit more white on there. Well, not white. This is actually a cream color. That's what blows my mind. I'm using like a khaki cream color to paint the white. And it's subtle enough that it actually is coming across as a white. That was something else that was really weird getting into this hobby, and it's something my wife is really well familiar with because, again, majored in art in college, is an independent artist, but just how color theory works and how putting certain colors next to other colors makes them look different. And I can't wrap my brain around it because it's just so crazy how that works. Okay. There was one where she showed me, it was like a TikTok of some kind. Oh dear, I have completely forgotten about these studs over here. But it was like a TikTok where a woman was looking at a painting of gold, and on that gold they had like white shine going off of it. And they were like, art is freaking magical, because how else do you explain this? And she took like the dropper tool so she could extract the white, and she put it on a blank white canvas, and it was a dark brown. And it was at that moment I realized I was never going to understand art. Because I guess just how darker colors and the contrast trick your eyes into thinking other things, but there is no way on God's green earth that a dark brown equals white. I refuse. Okay, I think the non-metallic metal gold... Oh, nope, his shoulder pad. I was about to speak too soon again. Let's say I think it's done. But then I noticed I hadn't given his pauldron any love. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. They're all made up in your brain. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. They are just your brain's interpretation of light waves. Do not rely on them. Life is tough. Drop out, be a dinosaur. Okay. I am definitely getting better at this gold thing. That all looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Now it's going to be time to go straight from this dark brown. Actually, no, I haven't even painted the regular brown here. I'm not going straight from this dark brown to a light brown. I'm going to have a mid-tone of this brown. Just going to use it to edge highlight and bring out some high spots. Yeah, you just realized his belt buckle. Well, no, his belt buckle can be black. Okay. There we go. There we go. Let's get a little brighter on there. I think that's it. I think that's what I needed to do on that. Just get a little bit of brightness. That'll eventually show back up later as I add some more of this bone color. Contrast and let the eyes actually see the darn leather. And unfortunately, well, fortunately, unfortunately, I can't hit the other side, so I'm not even gonna bother. What else can I do here? It's got that deep. I think I can go ahead and do the same thing on the hilts or on the handles of these swords. Dry it out a little bit. Oh no, that's too much. I don't like that. Is that too much? Yeah, just a little too much. I don't like that. Oh, there goes the boy again. Let's see, does that mean that people are here? Okay. Nothing too important. Nothing too important. Thank you. Nice afternoon. Yes, it is. Montravad, nice to see you. I'm right now working on an Imperial Fist Praetor Captain, and just kind of figure out what I want to do next. I just finished the non-metallic metal gold on the boy, and I'm looking around at him, trying to see what do I need to do next on it. What can I do to make him look good and pretty? I might have to go soon. I am primarily doing this because I have company coming over that I haven't seen in over a year because they live many states away. So once he gets here, I'm probably going to hop off very violently and very quickly. Okay, I know what I can do. I'm not going to go pure white with the gray. I'm not mixing that in. Instead, what I'm going to do is mix in this bone color to create a warmer gray. Okay. I'm going to use and exploit this to go ahead and make some gray highlights on this lad, specifically on his weapons. God, this full kite charger is so freaking cool. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize he's got like little studs on there. Thank you, appreciate it. I've been doing my best, just trying to finagle him to make him look pretty. I stole his head and I put it on a Gravis Captain, because I just loved how incredibly posh and British the head looked. So, he's not going to have the appropriate head. Instead, what I'm going to do is I had a Mark 6 bear head that I was going to use on the Praetor Captain, but a friend said that is the most tired-looking Astartes I've ever seen. He just looks like he has actually been to war for 10,000 years. And so I decided I need to use that helmet or that face somewhere. And so that's what's going to end up going on this guy, is that very tired Marine. And he's just going to be the most tired-looking captain you've ever seen, because in my headcanon, he will have been campaigning for 10,000 years. Because that's funny. Let's go ahead and add this in here. I've got the head all painted up. It's glued to a chopstick, and I cannot wait to finally get it off there and put it on an actual unit. And I'm getting ever so closer as I finish this guy up. Okay. Go back into the gray. more of that gray on the on there. And again, I'm going for a very subtle look right now. I don't necessarily need this to be an overwhelming contrast. And the hope is that when I finish, it'll end up with this brilliant looking transition from a black into more of a dark, or into almost a white as it shines off. Do a little bit of that there, a little bit of that there, a little bit of that there. I will be completely honest, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. And if it turns out good, then bully for me. If it doesn't, well, then I at least learned a way to not do it. You know what I mean? Let's say I learned a way to screw up. But it's not really a screw up. It's just a variation of a technique that I'm not going to use anymore. Okay, there we go with some more of that gray contrast. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm talking about. I moved around my camera stuff from yesterday, and this feels a whole lot better than it did. Okay. Now, more contrast, more light contrast. We want all of this stuff to have a slight gray sheen to it, so that it clearly reads as light reflecting off of it. And unfortunately, the lighting is so funky that I cannot tell whether I'm doing a good job. Okay. A little bit more there, a little bit on the pipes. A little bit more of that. Mix it together. Get a little bit of gray up there. And if I do this right, the change will end up being very, very subtle. Like, you're not even going to notice it for the first few layers. As I just slowly add more and more, essentially khaki, to this model. That's the hope, at least. And I suppose we'll see. Okay. I think that's all that I need for that, so more khaki. Because instead of adding just a plain white, I want it to be a warmer light. Okay, see you later, Pilkey. Thanks for joining. I should be leaving soon too, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for what for me has been an early morning. More of that, more of that, a little bit more of that, a little bit more of that, more of that, doop 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 doop. And a little bit more, because that's still very, very dark. I don't need it to be that dark. There we go. That should be bright enough to really bring out there we go. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want this to be too bright, but at the same time I do want there to be a brightness to it. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's bring a little bit more light parts of it. Okay, kind of the same thing here, but not as much because that part's not making the same amount of light as the front part. Some of this backpack. Let's let it get cleaned off first of all. And some of that. Backpack just a little bit. And again, I'm just doing very, very, very subtle layering. I guess this is technically glazing because this is a wet brush. but I'm not trying to make it too obnoxious. I'm not trying to be too distinct with these layers. I might actually be doing too little. But that'll be up to my eyes to decide once I finish what we got. There, there. There. Beautiful. One moment. I got a missive. Oh, I'll look at that later. Unimportant right now. Back on there because I forgot to do the shoulder pad. And again, I'd like for the shoulder pad to have a little bit more of a transition to it. I don't want it to be just a static black because that's a little boring. And that static black, or that gray, is not doing enough. And up the gray just a little bit. And hopefully this will read a little more clearly. It actually is. It's probably really hard to see on camera because the lighting for this shot is not very good. But the gray is actually, the lighter gray is actually coming through beautifully. And so different parts of this model are going to display different different parts of the shoulder pad are going to display different brightnesses. Which I think is neat. Oh dear. Paintbrush, way too wet. Paintbrush less wet, paintbrush less wet. Same kind of thing. A little bit more. That gray on top. Get a little bit more lighter. More lighter! At this point, it almost just feels like I'm stippling it on here. But I think this is going to be light enough that it's technically a glaze. Okay. Length back a little with the slightly darker color. Back a little bit with the slightly darker color. Not add more of the glaze color on. And again, it feels like I'm doing next to nothing, which is partially true. I'm trying not to get a whole lot in there. I don't want this to end up being too bright. So what I'm going to do instead is slowly go back and reduce how bright my selection is. There we go. I think that looks pretty neat. It's got like a semi-natural shine to it, but it also doesn't. I can deal with that. I can groove with that. Add more of this creamy yellowy glaze color. A little less. Now, a little less. A little less. A little less. A little less. That's been the hardest lesson for me, is learning how to reduce back how much of the actual equipment is covered in whatever color I'm going for. Because I always feel like I want to put the exact same amount on, but then you just end up with these really sharp contrasts of this really light color against a really dark color, and it ends up looking terrible. So you got to be careful with realizing that every consistently brighter layer is technically hitting less and less of model, right? Maybe one day I will learn this and it will make my models look better. Unfortunately, today is not that day. Oh, cool. Thanks for the follow, Montravan. I appreciate it. At some point, I'm going to upgrade the overlay so that there's a little bit more fun things to do other than just watch me paint. Even though I kind of understand that that's specifically what this channel is for. It's to watch a dude paint, right? But, I don't know. I feel like it'd be fun to have some more things to do with, like, an overlay. I've watched a lot of Doig and Swift, and if you haven't seen them, I suggest you do. They're great fun. But, I've watched how they do Twitch, and I've realized that I very, very much enjoy their version of it, and kind of the little environment and world they've created. So, my hope is that at some point, I can pull myself away from this long enough to actually teach myself Blender and Unity. And then I can start making my own version of what they're doing. I know that they've got like a tutorial system set up, and they've got a chat dedicated. Yeah, that actually turned out really good. Heck yeah. Actually, this guy's getting finished a whole lot quicker than I thought he would. I'm gonna go ahead and go up to the brightest at this point and only hit the highest spots. And hopefully that will read as metallic enough. Something else I probably should have done is colored this gun a bit more. Having it be all black is a little bit boring. But for what I'm doing, it's working. Actually, you know what I could do? Well, keep the energy coils that color. Maybe I could make the rest of the frame a different color. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm not going to be done with this guy before I finish today. So whatever I decide to do with him, and besides, I can always just paint it over, right? That's one lesson that I feel like I need to be better at, is knowing that whenever I'm feeling kind of squirrely about a model and I'm not fond of how some part of them's turning out, I can just paint them over. It's one of the best lessons for this hobby that I've learned. Okay. That being said, I think it's about time for me to go. No problem. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of the day. I'm actually heading off too, so, yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining me. I always appreciate it. I always appreciate the company, and I hope that I'm entertaining for you guys. I'll see you later. Maybe tomorrow, maybe not. I don't know. At some point, I'll have a consistent schedule again. But until I do, have a great time, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and goodbye.